Welcome to the Coach and Scooter Show. It's our first ever episode. I'm Trevor Neal along with my co-host, Matt Huff, and we're going to bring you some college football news and touch up on the first round of the playoffs that just ended tonight. All three of our local teams were in action. Bradley went up to Science Hill, Walker Valley went to Maryville, and Cleveland played at home against Clinton. First game up our alma mater. Cleveland, the only team that was in town this week, and they got a needed win in the playoffs, 10-7. The only touchdown was scored by Isaiah Beatty in the first quarter, but the Raiders get a field goal and hang on to defeat the Dragons of Clinton. Walker Valley gets shut out by Maryville, and Bradley loses to the Hilltoppers of Science Hill. So Cleveland moves on and will play at Oak Ridge next Friday night. On to some NCAA news. Season. Now, Matt, we've had 2 weeks of the committee doing the top 4 playoff, and there are some big games this week. Let's start off with Baylor and Oklahoma. Baylor comes into Norman ranked number 12, and Oklahoma 15. Oklahoma has 2 losses, so they're probably out of playoff contention. But Baylor, Art Briles' team, they're hanging in there. They're 12, but if they want any shot of being a one-loss team, they got to win on the road to Norman. What do you think goes down?
Yeah, well, I think Baylor's got to win out for the rest of the year, even have a shot at one of those 4 coveted playoff positions. I think Bryce Petty's a good quarterback, great quarterback. He was committed to Tennessee, but ended up going off his commitment because of Lane Kiffin, but that's okay. But I think Bryce Petty and the Baylor Bears get it done. Oklahoma seems to be slipping off this year. They had a good, when they started out, top 3 team in the nation, maybe even potential number 1, and they've ended up, falling on their face a few times. But I think Baylor, they're poised for greatness. I think Oklahoma's on their decline.
Yeah, I think so too. Like you said, Trevor Knight for Oklahoma is a good quarterback, but Bryce Petty's good out play him. Oklahoma, okay, decent defense at times that we see, but we all know that Art Briles' team, and they put up a lot of points, and they can light that scoreboard up in a hurry. I look to see the Baylor Bears pull one out. That's a 12 o'clock game on Fox. Now next, moving right along here, another game we have. It's a top 10 game in the Big 12. It's Bill Snyder's Kansas State Wildcats playing on the road in Fort Worth to the Horned Frogs of TCU. Both teams, TCU at 6, K-State at 7. They can make this. They can make the field of 4, but they got to win today and they got to win out. What do you think happens? Bill Snyder. They play disciplined football, sound defense. Only loss at home on a Thursday night to Gus Malzahn's Auburn Tigers. What do you think happens at 7:30?
I think this is going to be a close one. I think TCU, they put up a lot of points and they score really fast, really quickly. They even put up 82 this year. Just pretty impressive. I think they're going to be a little too much for Kansas State to deal with. I mean, I think Waters is a good quarterback. I think he plays really well, but I don't know. I just think that TCU is going to probably light up the scoreboard, and I don't think Kansas State's going to be able to hang with them for too long. But I think it'll be pretty close, maybe 1 or 2 scores, maybe.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know what Bill Snyder's football team's going to do. They're going to play good special teams, and they're going to fly to the ball. But even though Boykin looked human last week on the road in Morgantown, they got a much-needed victory, some momentum. I'll look for it to carry over, and Gary Patterson's team will get that 8th win of this year. Will get their 8th win of the year and go to 8-1. But like you said, it's gonna be interesting. Kansas State plays good, but Boykin, man, he is a quarterback, man. 22 touchdowns on the year. He's gonna show out, and he'll lead his team to victory late 4th quarter. And then another game we're gonna look at here is Arizona State Notre Dame. Another top 10 matchup in the Valley of the Sun out there in Tempe, and it promises to be a good one. Notre Dame 7-1, only loss on the road to Florida State. They scored a touchdown to win that game, but called back for an offensive pass interference. Todd Grantham Sun Devils 7-1. Both teams in the top 10, once again fighting for that 4th coveted spot. A loss can send your season into a tailspin. What do you think happens at 3:30 on ABC?
I think it's going to be close. I think Everett Golson's pretty good quarterback, pretty decent. But I think in Tempe, Arizona, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be Arizona State. Notre Dame's been playing people a little too close lately. They played UNC close and they played Navy close. Put up a lot of Navy put up a lot of points on them, and I just don't see them being the team everybody thinks they is. I think they're always pretty overrated. I think Arizona State gets it done, probably 7, maybe 14 points, maybe.
See, this is where we disagreed for the first time uh, on this show. I think that Notre Dame wins. I think that Everett Golson went to Tallahassee, proved he was made of, even outplayed Jameis Winston. Most people would say. I look to Notre Dame to win this game, not just win it, but I think they win it by 14 or somewhere around their two-score game, 10, 14 points. And I think it'll be close at first, but I think Notre Dame will do it. And I would not be surprised to see Notre Dame sneak in there with only one loss on the year and make that top 4.
Yeah, but they still got to play USC.
They do have a tough game against the Trojans, so we'll see how that plays out. Still a lot of football left to be played. And then before we get to the big SEC matchup, where College Game Day is this week, they're in East Lansing, Ohio State, Michigan State. Both teams one loss. Ohio State, they're at 14. Even with a win, it'd be tough to see them make the top 4 with a one loss because the loss to Virginia Tech was not a good loss. But Michigan State, they're 7-1. They're number 8. A big win here, a potential Big Ten championship. Michigan State needs to win it out, and they will be in the top 4. The only loss on the road to Oregon. What do you think happens in East Lansing, Ohio State, Michigan State?
Michigan State's got a good quarterback in Cody Cook.
Connor Cook.
Connor Cook. He's got a good quarterback in him. Sorry on the name mess up there. Two C's get me every time. But I think in East Lansing, Michigan State's got a lot to play for. I think that Virginia Tech loss that Ohio State has is just too much on them for the selection committee to even think about putting them in that top 4. That is a really, really, really bad loss. I think Michigan State, I think they end up winning the Big Ten. Big Ten's super down this year. Not a lot of good teams in that conference. But I think Michigan State gets it done and probably squeaks in there to one of those top 4 positions at the end. I think in this particular game, in East Lansing, just a lot of weapons for Michigan State. Ohio State really, really, really missing. I just went blank.
Braxton Miller.
Dang, I'm telling you, Big Ten. It's just not my deal. Braxton Miller, I think they're really going to miss him this game. But we'll see how it goes. You never know. Ohio State, Urban Meyer's a great coach. A little bit of a quitter down there at Florida, but that's another talk. We'll get to that later. But I think Michigan State gets it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a battle of the run game. Like you said, Connor Cook, he's played in big games like this. He was the MVP of the Rose Bowl and of the Big Ten championship last year when they did upset Ohio State.
Ruined their championship hopes.
You're right, they had to win one more and they got in, but it knocked them out, then opened the door.
Of course, you got to think about Ohio State maybe come with a little bit of vengeance, a little bit of bad taste in their mouth. You never know.
Yeah, they did not play particularly well in their overtime win against Penn State, but we'll see what happens. J.T. Barrett, he's a good quarterback for Ohio State, but I think Connor Cook outduels him. Again, coming out to the offensive line, Ohio State, last time they had a game that depended on offensive line was Virginia Tech, and that did not turn out.
Really young offensive line.
In their favor.
One of the youngest in the nation besides Tennessee. They got a lot of rebuilding to do. I think Urban Meyer, could probably get it done, but they got a long road ahead of them, I think.
But then, for the people that live in the Southeast, there's a huge game on the slate, and it's in Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, 8 o'clock at night, CBS. Vern Lundquist and Gary Danielson will be on the call there. Number 5, Alabama. A lot of people have them in their top 4. I do. But LSU, 7-2, 16 in the nation. They're playing spoiler this year. They've already
done it once.
They've done it once to Ole Miss at home, night game. It also led to another loss for Ole Miss. But a 2-loss Alabama team, it would be tough to see them get in, even if they do beat Mississippi State later down the road. Tigers, any chance to knock Alabama down a couple ranks?
I think if this game is being played in Tuscaloosa, wouldn't even be a chance. But when you're playing in one of the most hostile environments in the whole country, it's going to cause some problems for incoming teams. I think Alabama. I think they definitely weather the storm. I think they handle the crowd really well. I think Amari Cooper gets out in the space and against some pretty young defensive backs for John Chavis's defense. It's going to be close. I think maybe 3 points perhaps. Somewhere around there. I'm not sure what the Vegas line is, but I'm sure it's close. But Alabama, Blake Sims, and they got Yeldon, and they got Derrick Henry. That stable of backs. Of course, Leonard Fournette's proven himself as being a high quality SEC running back as a freshman already. Probably an All-American. Freshman contender already. But I just think LSU's pretty young this year. A lot of their weapons are young, and I think they don't really come to the big games as much as people would like them to.
Yeah.
In this particular case.
Yeah, Matt, I agree with you. I think Alabama does win this game. But Leonard Fournette's a good running back. He really had his debut party against Florida a couple weeks ago down there in the swamp when they won by 3 points. But LSU, at night, it will be tough. They're playing spoiler. Les Miles saying, hey, guys, we got a lot to play for this year. They need an 8th win. They're not going to get it against Alabama. It's going to be close, kind of like the last time they came down there. Last-minute drive, but Alabama wins it, and Blake Sims gets a much-needed road win. Last time we went into a big game, hostile environment.
Fell on their face.
They went to the Vaught and got beat in Oxford by the Rebels.
Yeah, Bo Wallace played out of his mind that game, and Laquan Treadwell had a great game as well. I think it was kind of a fluke, but we'll see.
Well, we're going to predict right now all the top 25 games, all top 25 teams that are in action. We're going to break them down right here. We've already talked about this game. Baylor, Oklahoma, final pick, go.
I'm going to go Baylor.
Going to go Baylor. The last time Baylor won on the road against a ranked team was in 1991 against the number 24 Arkansas Razorbacks, 9-5. They've lost 37 straight.
Wow.
On the road to ranked opponents. But they're gonna break it this week. Baylor will beat Oklahoma. Number 25 Wisconsin goes to West Lafayette, Indiana to play Purdue. They're 6-2. Purdue 3-6. They gotta win out. Yes. What do you think happens?
It's not gonna be much of a game here. Purdue, they haven't really been good since the 90s, probably. They're just not the team. Maybe mid-2000s they were okay. But Wisconsin, they got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of big boys on the O-line. Those corn-fed guys, they're huge. And they got a lot of speed, too. Wisconsin's dangerous. I know they got 2 losses, but I think they're one of the better Big Ten teams, which may not be saying much, but I think they're a quality team. I think they run over Purdue.
Yeah, they're a quality team. Not going to be much of a contest here. So it's 12 o'clock ESPNU if you're interested in watching that. But it's going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly quick in West Lafayette. But another interesting game. It's at 12 noon. It's in Lexington, Kentucky. The Georgia Bulldogs roll in. They're 6-2. Their playoff dreams demolished in Jacksonville last week on a 418-yard rushing attack by Florida. Only completed 3 passes, beat them. They're kind of down. Mark Richt never got them over the hump. What do you think happens when 5-4 Kentucky plays number 20 Georgia tomorrow at noon?
I think this is going to be a pretty big upset. I think Kentucky wins. I think they're in Lexington. Kentucky plays a pretty similar game to what Florida plays. They have a good running back in JoJo Kemp, and their quarterback Patrick Towles, young guy, doing great this year. Defense led by linebacker Khalil Henderson. He's playing good this year. I think Kentucky, they are playing as best football as I've seen them play in a long time. I think Stoops has got them going in the right direction. I think Mark Richt, he's just one of these coaches that's just plagued by big losses, and he proved that last week in the loss against Florida, which I was expecting them to roll over that game. I think Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, those are great players. But I just don't have much faith in Georgia right now, and I know they're, the Bulldog faithful are probably feeling the same way. But I think Kentucky gets the 6 wins on the year tomorrow and does it in pretty big fashion.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll be close. But Georgia, they're going to lose. I think they're going to lose on the road to Kentucky. Patrick Cole is going to be too much. And Georgia's missing something. Oh, yeah, Todd Gurley. He's suspended. And
For signing some autographs.
for signing some autographs. Nick Chubb, good back, but he got his last week.
Yeah, he's young, freshman.
I don't think Georgia can bounce back. I think they lose on the road to Kentucky, and they get their sixth win, and they're going bowling. Presbyterian, Ole Miss, 12 o'clock, SEC Network. Ole Miss is good. They've lost two in a row on the road in Baton Rouge, then at home to Auburn, but Presbyterian, absolutely no shot. Ole Miss will be mopping them up in the third quarter.
Yeah, Ole Miss rolls this game. Presbyterian, they're probably not even the best. They wouldn't even be considered probably the best high school team in South Carolina, let alone the best college. I think that Ole Miss is going to do okay. I think Bo Wallace. This would be a big game for Bo Wallace. He needs to come in this game, play good. They're missing Laquan Treadwell. He broke his leg against Auburn in the end zone. Terrible, tragic loss for them. But I think Bo Wallace is going to have to get some things going, and I think playing Presbyterian is probably the best thing that can happen for them right now.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be a good midseason break for them. Duke, Syracuse. Duke played a tough game in Pittsburgh, won it in overtime. They're going to the Carrier Dome. Syracuse 3-6, Duke 7-1. Probably going to make it. If they win, they'll go to the conference championship. If they win out the rest of the year, Duke, Syracuse. I got Duke big. Who do you got?
Duke beat Pitt last week. That was a close game for them. They played at Pitt. It was a hard-fought game by our personal buddy Chad Voitic. He played a great game, but Duke was able to squeeze out there in the end. Syracuse, they haven't really been anything since Donovan McNabb left in '99. It's been a long time for Syracuse. Been good, but I think Duke rolls.
It'd be a good basketball game. It'd be a good
Yeah,
basketball
hey,
game. But,
that sounds like a basketball national championship game right there.
But the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech is going to go down to North Carolina. Is going to go across, I should say, to North Carolina State, Winston-Salem, and they're going to play Jacoby Brissett's Wolfpack. I think too much option. I think they win, get their eighth win at 8-2, and North Carolina State will go to 500 at 5-5. Who do you got?
I got the Ramblin' Wreck as well. They got a lot of speed. They run that option. Just too many weapons for North Carolina State. Even though North Carolina State played Florida State in a really good game, but that seems to be a pretty common trend among Florida State to play close games. So I don't know if that's saying much. But yeah, Georgia Tech, great team. They're kind of the surprise this year in the ACC, I think, and they're going to end up probably playing for an ACC championship probably against Duke. So, wait, assuming they're not in the same division, I'm not.
They're not. And,
yeah, they're not.
Duke from Florida State.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Duke and Florida State. But,
yeah. Another game in Austin, Texas. The West Virginia Mountaineers are 6-3. Emotional 1-point loss last week in Morgantown to TCU. Texas good defense, but their offense not very good. I think West Virginia wins. Kevin White big game. Clint Trickett and West Virginia wins. Who do you got?
I got West Virginia as well. A heartbreaking loss there in Morgantown to TCU. I think this Texas game is going to be a rebound game for them. Charlie Strong's having a real rough go at it his first year as being head coach at Texas, and he's got a long way to go. It's going to be tough for him.
Notre Dame, Arizona State. Notre Dame number 10, Arizona State number 9, both 7-1. Playoff shots still there. We've talked about this game. We're gonna go through it quick. I got Notre Dame.
I got Arizona State.
You got Arizona State. We'll see how that goes. That game's 3:30 ABC. 3:30 in the SEC on CBS. A&M 6-2. No Kenny Hill serving a second game of his 2-game suspension. They're going to the friendliest village on the Plains. Too much Nick Marshall. Too much Cameron Artis-Payne. And Auburn gets their 8th win and stays in the top 4.
Yeah, I think this game's going to be pretty bad. I think Nick Frost from Auburn is just going to have a field day on the offense. I think that Auburn's just too good right now. They're playing at a really high level, beating Ole Miss last week. They're a fierce team. Texas A&M, they got on the gun. They beat South Carolina that first game of the year, and everybody thought, oh, gosh, Kenny Hill's going to be the man. They even named him Kenny Trill, and that was a little probably premature. Of course, he is serving the suspension. We'll see what happens when he gets going. But it seems like that Texas A&M just can't ever get a good defense going, and maybe that's coaching. Maybe there's a little bit of overratedness there in Texas A&M. Maybe he was riding Johnny Manziel's coattails. We'll see how it goes.
Sumlin,
yeah, Kevin Sumlin.
2 really quick games we can pick. Mississippi State's playing UT Martin. Florida State's playing Virginia. Both games get ugly. Mississippi State, Florida State stay undefeated.
Yeah.
UW Huskies playing at home to Brett Hundley's number 18th ranked UCLA Bruins. Seattle, tough place to play. Washington, too young. Skylar Miles, quarterback, out, I think, this week again with an injury. Brett Hundley, UCLA, good offense. They went on the road.
Yep.
Number 7, Kansas State, going to Fort Worth. They're playing the number 6 ranked TCU Horned Frogs. Got a big win in Morgantown last week. Can it carry over? I think we both have a lot of respect for Jake Waters and Bill Snyder's team. But TCU, really good at offense. They'll find a way to outscore them.
Yeah, I think TCU's got it.
TCU wins.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State, Michigan State. We talked about this. We both agree that Michigan State wins. Ohio State is not there. Connor Cook, he's a gamer. He'll win. The Buffs playing Arizona, Rich Rod's team, 6-2, sitting at number 19. Colorado, really nothing to play for, but moral victory. They're not going bowling. Arizona wins and wins big at home.
Yeah, Colorado, it's been a rough transition for them to the Pac-12. They've had a rough go at it. Rich Rodriguez his team's playing a really high level right now. Arizona's rolling. I got Arizona probably by 42, 35, something like that. It's going to get bad.
Down in Baton Rouge, we talked about Alabama coming to play Les Miles, 16th ranked. Bayou Bengals. We all agree it's a hostile environment. Leonard Fournette's a good tailback. But, man, Amari Cooper, they're stable of running backs. Blake Sims find a way to limit the mistakes, get a huge road win that they need, get it 8-1, and set themselves up for a really big game against Mississippi State here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think Alabama's going to handle business like they need to. Tough environment. You don't see LSU losing that much at night. I think only, four teams have ever beat them, and they were, 3 number ones?
It was Florida played them. They're number 1, beat them. Alabama beat them 2 years ago. They're number 1. Mississippi State beat them this year, and now they're number 1 in the country. So it's a daunting task to beat the Bayou Bengals at night. But an interesting game, if you want to stay up late, 10 o'clock, the number 4 Oregon Ducks are going to be in a jacked-up stadium in Salt Lake. Marcus Mariota got the monkey off his back by beating Stanford, one of the big reasons he came back. They're playing Utah. They're 17th in the nation, 6-2. Quack attack, I think too much option. Utah State will play close first half. Marcus Mariota has a great game down the stretch. The Quack attack pulls away, and they get their 9th win and stay in the top 4.
Yeah, I think Marcus Mariota is just playing at a really high level right now. Him and Dak Prescott are kind of vying for that Heisman Trophy this year. I think this is good for Marcus Mariota's resume for the Heisman Trophy crusade he's on. I think Oregon goes into a hostile environment at Utah and beats the Utes.
Yeah, I think so too. And we move right along. And we'll just go run through the remaining SEC games for people. We've already picked Georgia, Kentucky. And all we have to do now is pick one game outside the top 25 in the SEC, and that's Florida. They're 4-3. Still a shot at the SEC East. We're going to talk about that scenario after we pick this game. Derek Mason's 3-6 Commodores. They got to beat Mississippi State and Florida at least to get to put them at 5 wins, and then they got to win another game. I'm not sure the last game is against Tennessee.
Who?
They got to beat Tennessee.
Hey, Vandy?
Vandy's got to beat Tennessee, Florida, and Mississippi State to make it to a bowl game. That's not going to happen. I think Treon Harris got a lot of confidence along with that good defense Florida has.
He's a handoff machine.
And a good running game led by Matt Jones, Calvin Taylor's. My Gators win and win big in Nashville.
Yeah, I think Derek Mason, he's got a rough task ahead of him at Vanderbilt. He's not recruiting at necessarily a high level right now. I think that Vandy just not a very good team, to be honest with you. They're easily the worst team in the SEC. I think Florida's gained a little bit of momentum. They won big against Georgia. They've had some key wins, and like Trevor said, they're still alive for that East. And I think they got a pretty good shot because I'm pretty sure my Vols are going to take down Missouri. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Let's talk about the SEC East. The SEC West, wow. Alabama, Mississippi State, Auburn. That's to be discussed. Obviously, Mississippi State has a tiebreaker over Auburn. They won at home. But Alabama, they still got to play.
Yep.
Auburn, Mississippi State. There's going to be some shakeup in that top four
is.
here in the next couple weeks, and all is going to run through Tuscaloosa.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So still a lot of football left. But the SEC East, Missouri, they're the X factor. They control their own destiny.
Yep, and they got to win out.
Georgia, they have to win. They got to beat Auburn.
Yep.
Not going to happen.
Nope. No way.
They got to play Kentucky tomorrow. We both picked the upset.
Yeah, we did.
Georgia's still a very winnable game for them. But then they're going to need a little help from their friends up in Columbia, Missouri. And, I mean, no, Missouri has to lose.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
To the Tennessee Vols. I think that could happen.
Yeah, Josh Dobbs has Tennessee playing at a whole other level right now. Defense is on fire. We got a lot of people coming back for injuries. Maybe Josh Smith coming back. That'd be big. Vaughn Pearson getting him 100%. Marquez North, us not playing this week, huge for him. He had concussion-like symptoms. He probably wouldn't have played this week, but hopefully we can get everybody back and just Tennessee can roll against Missouri.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Tennessee here in a minute. But so I think we can rule Georgia out. I don't think they can beat Auburn.
No.
And I don't think they beat Kentucky. Kentucky very winnable. Auburn not so much. But then it gets interesting. Missouri, if they lose to A&M or Missouri, and they have to lose to Tennessee, so they need to lose 2 out of their next 3, but 1 has to be to Tennessee. And if Florida wins in Nashville,
They should win that pretty easily.
come home, play Spurrier's depleted Gamecocks.
Yeah, Spurs.
Missouri drops those 2 out of 3 games. Florida, yeah, you heard me, Florida will go to Atlanta. I think it's likely to happen, but the wild card is Tennessee to beat Mizzou.
Yep.
But let's talk about this. Dobbs. He steps in for Worley. He's a heck of a player. Leads an awesome comeback at Williams-Brice at night to beat Steve Spurrier's Gamecocks. Do you think that he has enough what it takes to get Tennessee to a bowl game?
You know, my friends inside the Tennessee program have been telling me all year that Dobbs just doesn't have it. And if Dobbs was going to play, then we were going to be in a lot of trouble. But, Dobbs has proved himself as a gamer. He's elusive. They say he's like tackling a wet noodle out there. He runs hard. He runs hard, but he glides. And him and Jalen Hurd back there just added a whole other element to Tennessee's offense. Defense is playing at a high level. I just don't see Matty Mock and Missouri beating Tennessee. I mean, maybe if it was at Missouri, but it is at Neyland coming up. So we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm hoping for the Vols victory, obviously, because we got to beat 2 out of the next 3 to get bowl eligible, and that'd be huge for Butch Jones, huge for recruiting. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a fun next few weeks here in college football. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be awesome. I agree with everything you just said, man. But that's going to be a really fun game when Missouri comes to Tennessee. There's going to be a lot of emotions at stake.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Does Florida make the SEC championship?
I think Florida makes it to the SEC championship, and I think that Tennessee wins out and goes 7-5, and has a pretty good year. So those are our 2 teams, by the way, Vols and the Gators. So
Gators.
Yeah.
I think Florida finds a way to do it. I think that they'll get some help from their friends
in Knoxville.
I
wouldn't call them friends.
Yeah, they're not their friends, but
that
will be friends for a couple weeks because they'll definitely be pulling for that. Tennessee. And Arkansas, they got to play Arkansas. Missouri has to lose to either Arkansas or A&M. Arkansas is due for an SEC win.
They are. Brett Bielema's, I think he hasn't won one yet.
No, I have not won one yet.
That I know of.
But they are due for one. And A&M, that's a losable game.
It is.
So we'll see what happens. I think it'll be interesting. But so we kind of figured out the East from our stance. But the West. Who wins the Wild West, man?
Man, that's just like shooting fish in a barrel. Well, that's a terrible analogy. That's like throwing a dart at with your eyes closed. It's going to be it's all just who comes and plays every week.
Well, we know it's not Ole Miss.
Nope.
Okay, they're out. We know it's not LSU.
My gut tells me Alabama. I don't want it to be Alabama. But my gut tells me
it's Alabama.
Saban's a winner.
Saban's a winner. I think Alabama can win the national championship. But we've got a couple more things to touch on before we go. Who's your top four? As of right now, before any games are played tomorrow, who's your top four? Let's hear it.
Top four. Alabama, I got them number 1. Florida State, got them number 2. Mississippi State, got them number 3. And then I got Oregon Ducks, Quack Attack at number 4. But I find it pretty, people are like, oh, well, we got the 2 undefeated team sitting 2 and 3. I know, but I just think Alabama right now is playing at a high level. I think they've found their groove. Saban's got them going in the right position. I think they're going to end up being the best team in the nation.
I agree with a lot of you, but I got to put Florida State at number 1. They haven't lost since a home loss to Florida a couple of years ago. They're winning. They got their test at Louisville, but they still got a couple more games to win. Stay undefeated. They got a tough conference championship game if Duke makes it.
Yeah.
And they're going to get all they can get from Cutcliffe. I guarantee you that in Charlotte.
Payback time.
And so I got Florida State, undefeated Mississippi State at number 2.
Yep.
Number 3, I have Oregon. Number 4, I have Alabama.
So same top 4, just different order.
So we have been sent top 4, different order. So we'll see what happens. No Auburn, because I think Auburn did not play well Thursday night in Manhattan, Kansas, a couple weeks back.
And they should have demolished them, personally.
And took a little bit of luck to win in Oxford, and then obviously a loss in Starkville. But how lucky can Gus Malzahn's team get? Nick Marshall just throws it up, and Sammy Coates somehow finds a way to come down with it. But I think the luck will run out. I think they'll lose the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
And
I think clock strikes midnight for Auburn. I think they've been too lucky for too long, and it's college football. It's not going to stay that way for very long. Something's got to give. They got to have a bad play or something not go their way for once. But
so we're running out of time here. But who's your Heisman front runner right now?
Right now, I got to go with Dak Prescott sitting there.
Same here. He's the quarterback of the number 1 team in the nation.
Yep,
they're winning, playing at a high level. SEC regular schedule. He's beat a good Arkansas team in a good fight against Arkansas 17-10. They've beat LSU and they've beat Auburn.
Yeah.
And he played a big part in all that. But he's got to get healthy.
Yep. He's got to play Alabama.
He got a little hobbled against the Hogs, but not Presbyterian, UT Martin.
Yeah, they're gonna roll them.
They're gonna roll them. Dak Prescott can get and can leave about halftime and ice himself up, get healthy, and for this down the stretch, it's gonna be promises to be tough. But once again, just a quick rundown of the Tennessee playoffs. Our 3 local teams. Cleveland, only team to win. They win at home, 10-7 over the Clinton Dragons. Walker Valley. It was a shutout when we checked.
Yeah, we stopped watching that one. It was just
it was bad.
Yeah.
And so they lose big time.
And Bradley played Science Hill closer than I thought they were. I thought they were going to get ran out of the stadium, but Bradley ended up playing a pretty good game. Cleveland, they scared us a little bit there. Me and Trevor were at that game watching it together. Cleveland just got to get something going on offense. They start out strong. If Cleveland could put 4 quarters together of solid offense,
really good team.
I think they'd be a really good team. But they usually only got 1 quarter, maybe 2 quarters. Defense kept them in the game. Clinton couldn't get much going on offense. Their defense, played a pretty good game, and they ended up almost trying to fight Cleveland after the game.
Yeah, it got a little scrappy. The player got ejected with 5 seconds left, and then I think he didn't even really leave the stadium and try to come back and fight during the handshakes after the final whistle blew. But good night for Cleveland. Not so good night for the other 2 teams. But Bradley, they got a dose of what their new class is going to be like. Yep. They moved up. They're in the Super 32 now. They're one of the bigger high schools in Tennessee.
Yeah, they're gonna have a rough road, but they always make the playoffs.
They always make the playoffs. So we'll see what happens next season. But Walker Valley, Bradley, congratulations on making it to the playoffs. To Damon Floyd and Coach Glenn Ryan at Walker Valley, making it to the playoffs. Walker Valley beat Bradley for the first time, I believe. So congratulations to the Mustangs and to the Bears. And we'll look forward to seeing what they do next season. But Cleveland survives to at least another Friday night. You heard it here first, folks. We made the picks. We'll see what happens. We'll see you next week to talk about Cleveland, only team, in the next week of college football. But thanks for watching. We appreciate it. I'm Coach. That's Scooter. We're out.